Hello, all my beasties. Welcome to my lair. How's everybody doing this evening? Squirrel, say hi.
Hello. How are you
Bring
folks
Croc-
today?
We'll bring Croco in for a few minutes to give our people a few more minutes to get here.
Okay.
We have some interesting, we have some interesting developments to the point that I'm eating popcorn. Like I'm literally sitting here with a bag of popcorn.
Is it liquid popcorn?
No, it's just regular popcorn.
Oh.
Hey, Crow, I haven't seen you in forever. Hi, Cookie. Cookie, I don't have much family drama because I generally just eat them. I'm like, yeah, I don't forgive. Bye. There's the door. Hi, watching. Yay. Thank you for hitting the live. I'm awful with that subscribe, share, hit the bell. I'm awful about that.
Yeah, you and me both. If I'm going to say it at all, I wait till the end of the live stream, and that's not when they need. That's not when I need to be bugging them.
Yeah. How are you, Crow? I haven't seen you forever. Good to see you too. Yeah. This is definitely a popcorn stream.
Oh dear.
Uh-huh.
I suppose we have video of this too.
No,
That might actually be a good thing.
it's a minor. I wouldn't put it up anyways.
Yeah.
But I was doing my research for this, and I was like, oh, damn, this is about to be epic. So,
Ooh. Okay. Are we talking epic or epic?
I don't know. You'll have to see. I will. I will tell you guys. I've been having some discussions behind the scenes, and she's extremely busy this month, but it's going to happen sometime next month. We have the amazing, the famous, and the savage AF defense lawyer from Rittenhouse, Natalie Wisco, coming on. So, Natalie will be here. Yeah, Opal, you did your mandatory stalking. Where's my, spousal support? You can go back to sleep. Um, that's like a regular excellent versus a Mr. Burns. Excellent. Yes. So we have Natalie Wisco coming on. I didn't think she'd agree, but I mean, who better? We have Natalie from Rittenhouse coming. Should be good. She'll have some interesting perspective. I think she will have some interesting perspectives. What do you think, Croc? Croco. Did I lose Croco?
Sorry, physical mic muting. No, I'm very interested to hear what she has to say because that could be eye
Yes,
opening.
we have the epic Natalie Wisco coming on. So, Natalie will be here. And I don't know if you've noticed, she doesn't make many YouTube appearances. She is.
I know his league counsel doesn't even like to do interviews for the press.
Well, that's because everybody made fun of Binger epically.
Oh yeah, no. Haha, it's Binger.
We got Natalie. Victoria, it shouldn't be too long. I am catching everybody else. We're going to catch up on the 6-year-old that shot the teacher because I brought popcorn. It's that good. Yeah, so Natalie, the only YouTube visit I know of is Legal Bites. Watching you, she made a very brief appearance on Law Talk with Mike for a few minutes. And other than that, she does not. She does not like LawTube and drama. Luckily, she likes me, so she's joining us.
I was going to
And
say we're not
then-
locked or too much on the drama thing. So
But I'm just snarky, so she doesn't care. She and I have a very similar personality off screen. We were talking yesterday. And
that helps.
then, yeah. And then I believe next week, possibly next week, I know I'm talking to him. I think it's going to film at the end of January. My friend Pootie, my former SWAT partner, Mr. Al Carson, we are going to do a hand-to-hand self-defense, hand-to-hand combat video where you guys are going to watch me take on another SWAT officer and former NFL player. So for those of you that are not quite ready for a firearm but still have self-defense needs, we have our self-defense expert, Mr. Carson, we're doing a video with. No, I like rackets. Crow, I like rackets. I don't think rackets is for everybody. I don't know how much of her personality, or anything personal between her and rackets. Hey, Darth. I was just more. I don't really count rackets as LawTube. It's like the rest of the drama llamas.
Well, Racket specifically
Disavows it.
disavows LawTube. He's not LawTube. He doesn't want to be LawTube. He didn't think that the idea of LawTube was good to begin with.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's what Natalie doesn't do. So Natalie will be here. She's just in trial and has a bunch of things this month. She'll be here in February. And then you guys get to watch me fight my old SWAT partner and professional NFL lineman. This should be. I'm not sure if it's going to be painful or not. Should be interesting.
We're talking about the nice lady that was that was
No, Darth. No, Natalie Wisco. Natalie Wisco, defense attorney for Rittenhouse. I have never spoken to Natalie Lawyer Chick. No, Natalie Wisco. Yes, Natalie Wisco is bae. She and I talked yesterday. We've talked a few times, but she will be on. She's in trial this month right now, but she'll be on in February. One other interesting side note before we really quickly get into all of our stuff is once jury selection is done, I don't know how long it's going to take. It's scheduled to start Monday. Yes, she was the associate on Rittenhouse. Scheduled to start Monday. I am going to live stream the Ethan Crumley's parents' trial.
Oh,
yes, Croc has kids in the background.
Yes, unfortunately, they have things that they must get done, which is why mics are being muted every once in a while.
You can just mute it; it's fine.
Okay. They exist.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, I am going to live stream the Crumley parents' trial since it is really the first trial where the school shooter, where we're seeing the parents be charged. And what I think is even more telling is the kid who actually, Ethan, the kid who actually actively shot people, he already pled out.
Oh,
Okay, I got to mute it. I can't do it with the dog and the. Yeah, he already pled out, so he is going to be able to testify against his parents. So this is like the first case where we're gonna have the kid testifying against the parents. We have the kid already, the actual shooter pled, and the parents were charged. So I'm sure plenty of LawTube is going to cover it. I don't know. When Andrew was here the other day, we talked about it. Andrew has a ton of stuff, and there's so many trials going on. So I'm going to live stream it. And I do know Mindset will pop in and out occasionally. But I'm going to go ahead and live stream that. And I might not be a lawyer, but I am a firearms expert. So, and a lot of firearms law and a lot of that stuff. And I think out of the general crime YouTubers, I think I am the only one that has two school violence incidents under my belt. I'm blaming you, Krakow. I think I'm the only one that's actually been at a school shooting and a school stabbing and worked a real one out of the YouTube group. So
I don't know of any. I don't myself know of any others, but
either do I. I do have a child and a Gundy, but I was at the Nickel Mines Amish school shooting and the Franklin Regional High School school stabbing as public safety and an emergency responder for both. So I worked both of them. So we will see. I have been there. I have firsthand worked them and seen what happens on the ground and not just Monday morning quarterbacked it, which is what the majority of the other YouTubers have done. And there's nothing wrong with it. I was in 7th grade when Columbine happened, and I never thought I would see it again. And we all remember we're going to cover that in a few minutes. We do know, Columbine happened. You think it's a once in a lifetime. You're never going to see it. And then, Virginia Tech. And then I worked the Nickel Mines Amish school shooting. And then I had the Franklin Regional School mass stabbing. So I'm going to be able to cover the Crumley trial, I think, from, not just the firearms aspect, but as a responder who's been at 2 actual events. So I'm going to stream that starting Monday. I do not, jury selection and voir dire are not going to be streamed. They generally aren't. But I will be going live and gavel to gaveling that one. Okay. So I am going to, Victoria, it will. But like I said, my thoughts on it are, what we're going to see from the majority of lawyers covering this are people covering it Monday morning quarterback as a lawyer saying this should have been done. Why wasn't this done? Why did people take this approach? I can tell you exactly what I did in that situation. I've had the kid's blood on my hands. I've been there. I've been there in the middle of 8 helicopters and a CNN camera in my face and through all of it. So I think it's going to be interesting to have my perspective of a public safety person who's actually worked it and who's a gun expert compared to people that have only seen the legal side. A little bit of
the legal side is going to be the most common thing. A lot of folks that have been down in the trenches don't want to talk about it, like at all.
Right. And I have no issues discussing it. Um, there are some things I can't say because patient privacy and legal reasons, but for the most part, I have no issues discussing it. But when you go and watch, when they cover everything on LawTube, everybody quotes the same law. Everybody goes with the same objection. Everybody speaks to that. And I'm also trying to get, and I have to see how she feels. One of my very good friends, Sabrina, has a PhD in forensic psychology.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
And Sabrina may be joining me for some of it. So we'll have, and she works specifically with a pediatric population in forensic psychology. So we may have Sabrina on. Okay, so let's cover what we promised to cover here. Now, here is my disclaimer. Yes, we are talking about sensitive things. Like I always say, people can disagree, but please don't name call. Keep it above boards. Hey, John. So here, let's talk, because I don't know if you guys remember when Ben was on, when we broke the news of the 6-year-old school shooting. Ben and several others said that it was their opinion the school was going to have no liability in this. And that we were all saying we have questions, like the parents are going to be liable, but who else? Like, where did this happen? Well, here we go. At least one official at the Virginia school where a 6-year-old boy shot his teacher last week was tipped off that the child brought the 9mm gun to class, but did not find the weapon and take it away. School system superintendent George Parker admitted to parents during an online town hall Thursday night an unnamed staff member at Rich Neck Elementary School had been told the first grader has a gun in his possession. At least one administrator was notified of a possible weapon in the timeline that we are reviewing and was aware the student had. There was a weapon on campus. He said the backpack wasn't searched, the gun wasn't found. However, 2.5 hours later, the 6-year-old pulled out his mother's 9mm Taurus handgun during an argument with the teacher and shot her. The Don't Report News said the boy brought the gun to school in his backpack. Details of who told the administrator about it and why it wasn't found aren't immediately available. Virtual town hall was originally parents only, but then it was broadcast because a parent gave a news station the credentials. Parker told parents security measures at schools are being beefed up, beginning at Rich Neck, which I don't understand why they weren't, and they're going to consider clear backpacks, which never works. 5th grade teacher Abigail Zwerner was shot in the hand and chest by her 6-year-old student. During a press conference, the school board chair announced metal detectors would be installed at all schools. Let's see. Some of it. The teacher's condition is improving daily. Police chief has described the shooting as intentional. And the child's being held at a medical facility like we said they would following an emergency custody order. So, on top of this, Virginia law prohibits leaving a loaded gun where it's accessible to a child under 14, a misdemeanor punishable with a maximum 1-year prison sentence and $2,500 fine. So, there is story number 1. So, now we know. The school knew. Hours before. Let's discuss where that liability is going.
Yeah, if the school's been made aware of it, then they're boned. And if they've admitted to it, that's worse.
On record, they've admitted they knew about it several hours before. Okay. Well, this is great. Your superintendent, you're admitting. Oh, yeah, people told us the kid had a gun. What? How? Like, remember the last time I was like, I have questions. We all have questions. I have questions.
There are serious questions to be had here.
I have more questions, but let's move on. We're going to look at a couple of the articles. Some do have some overlap, but even if they're essentially covering the same thing, until I have a court document, I like to have several different media reports because you can kind of see where they overlap. Yeah, John, I'll get you in a minute. You can see where they overlap. Yeah, Croco, can you send him a link?
I don't have direct access.
I got it. Never mind, I got it.
Sorry,
That's fine.
it's not like I have him on Discord or something.
He technically has a Discord, but he's as bad about it as I am.
What?
He has a Discord, but he's worse about it than I am, which I didn't think was like humanly possible, but it is.
Well, I used to be too, so.
I just don't do it. People annoy me. Back to my. Okay, so now we're going to go on to a couple of the other ones. Guys, I see there's lots of questions. Put all the questions you have in the chat. And after I'm done reading another article or two, I will go through the ones that Croco has starred for me. So watching you daily, I actually can address that because I was involved in a whole clear backpack issue. So we'll go there next. But let's go to some more coverage of this while we figure this out, right? Because we all have questions. We all have all the questions. Because what? The 6-year-old took the gun from his mother. Police in Newport provided new details. The shooting, which police say was intentional. On January 6th, teacher was identified as 25-year-old Abigail. She was teaching a lesson when the child drew the weapon. The teacher took a defensive position and held up her hand. Drew said the bullet passed through her hand and entered her chest. She is hospitalized and remains in stable condition. The shot was the only one fired. He said there had been no physical fight between teacher and student. The child was using a 9mm Taurus, which Drew described as a handgun. Oh my God, my head is going to explode. Did you really just have to specify? Okay, great.
So
guys,
this kid's got problems.
I'm not worried about. Wait. Time out, Croco. We're not even going to go there. We are first going to address the fact that you felt the need to clarify that a 9mm Taurus is a pistol. What else would it have been?
I don't know how many rifles do they even make in 9mm. I can't think of anything right offhand.
How many 6-year-olds can conceal a rifle?
Well, it would have to be a pistol. 9mm rifles are unicorns.
That's what I'm saying. Let me make sure I clarify. It was a pistol. Like, dude, thank you, Captain Obvious. The gun was legally purchased by the child's mother. The child brought the weapon to school in his backpack, but Drew said the firearm was on the child's body, not pulled from his backpack at the time of his shooting. Drew declined to provide information about how the gun was secured in the home. I wish we never had to ask, how does a 6-year-old know how to use a firearm? I don't know that I can give you an adequate answer. It's unprecedented. I don't know how to answer that question. After she was shot, she evacuated the children. 17 to 20 other children spilled into the hallway, went to a neighboring classroom. She was the last person to leave, being a hero. It was heroic the way she took care of the students. Unidentified female school official entered the classroom and restrained the child. While she sought help in the office, they received a call at 1:59 p.m. First officers arrived 5 minutes later. Rest of the school was evacuated. Parents were reunified. Students that had been in the classroom where the shooting took place were brought to the school library where they met with detectives and mental health professionals. Classes were canceled. I don't think we're fully prepared for a 6-year-old to bring a weapon to school and shoot his teacher. The child is at a medical facility. We've already discussed that that's where that kid was going. Okay. Guys, yeah. So this kid's concealed carrying a 9mm somehow?
Now,
Now,
how big is this kid? I want to know.
I don't know, and we don't know that. But here's the thing, John, and that's not exactly true. Point and pull trigger. It's not rocket surgery. Depending on the model, there are safeties that a 6-year-old would have to overcome. I own a Taurus 9mm. So, you know what, guys? Who would be interested in me taking my Taurus to the range and seeing exactly what my pull weight is, because my Taurus is stock, and seeing what our recoil is and looking at the actual weapon? Who of you would be interested in us actually recreating the using of said Taurus? Let me know, because if there's enough interest, I'll bust the Taurus out and head to the range with it.
I think that could actually be very interesting to see what to see what the pull weight is on a stock Taurus.
But I mean,
except that Darth actually has that information to hand.
Yeah, it is 7 pounds, but that's not the only thing you have to take into account. You know, you have to.
Victoria looks excited.
Yeah, and I mean, there are multiple safeties on some of them. You guys know I have a child. I never let my child handle anything loaded. I never let my child so much as touch firearms. But I would not be opposed to clearing the gun, locking the slide back, showing it's empty, and seeing if we can get her hand around it. She would have the same size hands. I don't know that she can get her hands around it.
Well, a kid managed it somehow.
But I'm just saying, we will look. I will look into it. Darth, I don't ever shoot the Taurus. That's why I said I will jig it. Oh, that's cute, Darth. That's really cute. I know that you like Tupperware, but that one chills in the back of my safe and hasn't been touched in like 4 years because I like big kid guns. That's one from when I was like 12, 13. The magazines for my guns cost more than your Glock does. I think I did the math in one live stream, and it was like I could buy like 29 magazines, 2 Glock pistols, and 5,000 rounds of ammunition for the price of one of my pistols. But hey, yeah, Opal, it actually does matter, because why the kid had access to it is a big problem, but knowing how to use it is relevant, because the thing is, it becomes your level of accuracy and disarming. Darth, I don't have endless mags for your Glock because I own nothing that Tupperware built.
As opposed to Mattel, right?
But I can reach out and touch you from another zip code. So I'm not worried about you. And my Les Bear is more accurate than your Glock could ever be on its best day on a bench rest.
Ooh.
So let's look at a couple other news stories about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna send Darth the burn heel now.
What? Okay, let's see. You have endless mags for your Tupperware. If I need endless mags for anything I own, the zombie apocalypse has officially long since happened. Crow, yes, I generally pack a need. It's not about need. Darth, I have more guns, magazines, and bullets in the corner of my bedroom in a safe than most people will ever own in a lifetime, let alone the 2 gun safes downstairs, okay? So I need all of them because, like women collect high heels, I collect guns. Crow, yes, I generally carry the double stacked 1911 high capacity 18+1 Les Bear custom that is no longer in production and 2 spare magazines for it. So let's look at some other news. The parents could be facing criminal liability if the gun was improperly secured. Yeah, no shit. Here we go. The young boy took the gun from his home, placed it in his backpack, and took it to school. The gun was legally purchased by the mother. It's unclear how he had access, but here's what we know. The test should come down to whether or not appropriate steps were taken to safeguard the weapon. If they kept the gun out in the wide open where anyone can grab it and do something untoward with it, it exposes them to liability. Yes, it does. The kid isn't going to face charges. He's 6. Well, his parents will probably face charges. It's unlikely he's going to face anything. You can't charge him criminally. He's going to get the mental help he needs. The teacher is recovering. She got all her students out. Great. This is where there was no fight or struggle before the shooting. The 6-year-old child displayed the firearm, pointed it at her, and fired 1 round. There was no physical struggle or fight. She was providing instruction. Why? Let me go take that away from them, okay? Gun safety. Yeah, we don't need to discuss about that. Talking about the students. Yeah, they didn't have any protocols.
Yeah, we're not talking about crumbling now, Darth.
But hold on. I looked at this one. Where's the other one? Okay, I think I've covered. Okay, but here's my question. What? Why did you not disarm a 6-year-old?
Why was he armed in the first place?
We're gonna suspend that first. She didn't try and take it because she was taught to fear the gun, not the shooter. Nebraska, Jeff, that is why we have this channel. We talk about these things. We have, hey, Will call. We talk about these things. And like I said, we have my former SWAT partner and a former NFL lineman and a self-defense hand-to-hand combat expert, Mr. Carson. We are going to show you how to disarm somebody if need be. We are going to show you hand-to-hand combat and how to take control of a situation like that. We are going to teach you what to do when you are faced with a situation like this. So that's why you come here. You come here not just for me to review guns and make fun of people. You come here for firearms education. And that's what you're going to get. So, like I said, we are going to show you if I need to disarm somebody, how do I do it? You can easily disarm a child without hurting them. I can disarm an adult without hurting them if need be. But we are going to cover it. And so, like I said, my former partner, we're gonna have a video on that one. But the parents are gonna be in a lot of trouble. Your 6-year-old had a weapon. And we're gonna look into this. We are going to pull. Yeah, Mean John, you can make fun of like the people, but Mean John, you know where the line is with me. All of my beasties know where my line is. Mean John, did I wrench you? Remind me to wrench you if I didn't. But we're going to, we are going to get, wait, that's not a fair fight. He's going to be armed to even the fight. What's not a fair fight? Watching you daily. What's the time from events? Sometimes time to mentally register events. I think sometimes we demand people to be flawless in awareness. Opal, if you are in the situation where you are an educator, or you work like I do, or whatever, this is not an instantaneous thing. Oh, me and my former SWAT partner. No, he's a former NFL professional football player. And Pootie is a world-renowned Krav Maga instructor. And he teaches agility, and he spent all summer teaching agility at NFL combines. So, watching you, he's going to be more armed than I am generally. He doesn't need evening of that fight. Only one that needed even in that fight was, he's got, well, he doesn't anymore, but at the height of his SWAT career, he weighed more than double what I did, and I had to carry his stupid behind out of a building.
Yeah, that didn't, he got teased for that.
No, they all stood there and had their popcorn while they watched me struggle. Because you have to pass the SWAT test. To pass the entrance and yearly qualification, I had to prove that I could shoot one-handed with each hand. I had a timed run, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, buddy drag. It's kind of like the Marine Corps', what they call the combat fitness, that's the CFT. Krav Maga is
Brazilian.
No, it is not. Krav Maga is the hand-to-hand combat designed by the Israeli Defense Forces.
Nah.
It is Israeli. It's Krav, yes. I am an experienced Krav Maga, fighter. I can teach some of it. It is Israeli, like me. So yeah, Krav is some serious stuff, but Pootie and I have gone and taught it at schools. Yes, I am ambidextrous, but not only. Darth. Shake it, bavakasha.
Ooh.
Just shake it. Okay. Yeah, Crow, but I'm the only one here that I know of that's fluent. Let's bring in Jet. Let's add him.
Hello, folks. How are you?
Good. You're
Hey, John, what's up? Long time no visit.
Yeah.
Loki, you were saying there's something wrong with my mic?
You're very echoey.
Yes.
All right. Set it
Run that
before-
back. We gonna fight? Lechlisden. Yeah, I can pronounce it correctly. I am gonna win this one. I am fluent in Hebrew, so try me again.
Is that any better?
Yes.
A little bit. So, John, I don't know what you caught of my stream up until now. What are your thoughts on this on the 6-year-old shooter?
So I literally just started seeing it, and I said I would love to come back and give some commentary.
I covered it as it was happening on Friday.
I know you did. You know as well that I was
I know where you were.
covering the other trial. I
Yeah.
was covering the Jensen trial. That is insane.
So, and here's the reality: it's a 9mm Taurus. So we're gonna bust one out. I'm gonna clear it, lock it back. I'm gonna see how big it is compared to my small person's hand because they're the same age. And apparently, it's the mom's 9mm Taurus. It's got anywhere between a 7 and 9 pound pull. There are safeties on it, but it was concealed on the child. That's a hard weapon for a child to conceal, especially one of that age. But not just that. The school was aware several hours prior that the child was in possession of a firearm and did nothing.
So you have two problems here from a legal standpoint.
Mom is screwed because you didn't secure it.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying. And clearly, if this is the point that I was making when I was saying that she left it in a not safe mode of action. Because at the very least, there's a button safety on the actual device. And to leave that unsafe is, to me, insane, unless you know more about the actual equipment than I do, but that's a problem.
It would depend on, they've not given the model Taurus that it is. Some of them have a thumb safety, which is what I think you're referring to as the button safety that you can flick up or down. It's a thumb safety. Those actually are not hard to take off and on. They're really not.
If you know where it is. And a 6-year-old might not.
I'm guessing they do. It's pretty obvious. The bigger issue is if it has a grip safety, or the reality is he would have had around it. They're fairly hard to rack a slide on. I mean, that's a 2-handed rack. So they were carrying it most likely cocked and locked.
And leaving that then in a circumstance where the child could get a hold of it.
Yeah. But originally, when I broke the story on Friday as it was happening, I happened to have Ben on. And there was some discussion, and someone was like, oh, the parents are going to be in trouble. Well, now I think we're going to see some serious liability because the school knew 2 hours beforehand. Administration was told the child had a firearm.
And what happened? Nothing.
They did nothing.
And again, I've been listening. I've been focusing on the actual facts of the circumstance. What state is this?
Virginia.
Oh, God. Yeah, the school probably is not going to have liability.
The school did look in the backpack and didn't see it.
Fine. I think that there's going to be I think that very likely it is going to be a question of whether the state of Virginia actually has any sort of liability, which unfortunately I think is a very decent possibility.
At the very least, you can in my opinion, at the very least, you have an argument of some shared liability, because if they came to you and said, this child is in possession of a handgun today, here, now, and you did nothing about it, and then 2 hours later, they shot the teacher.
But again, the argument is sovereign immunity.
Right. I'm just...
It happened.
I'm just saying in general, I think you have a better argument than like, with some of these other school shootings. You have a better argument that you knew hours ahead.
Yeah, but Loki, I love you to death. All these other school shootings, they also lost.
How
The,
many?
the theory of law is sovereign immunity.
Now I know why Robert Barnes doesn't like the idea of immunity. But I expect whichever administrator knew or was informed, that individual's going to be gone, and whoever it was didn't take it away from him in the first place. Because if you look in the backpack and don't find it, you check the person.
You're right, and I agree with you. If we were talking about a big, let's say, honestly, I can put it this way. If this were a private school, I would agree with your analysis 100%. It's not. And unfortunately, in law, that sometimes makes a difference.
Hold on one second.
I don't want to disagree with you. I absolutely think that the school ought to have some degree of liability.
I don't know. Failure,
hold on one
a
second.
failure to act is just as bad as acting badly.
Wrong, as a matter of law.
They've got schools in Virginia right now that are answering for that are starting to have to answer for other things.
Correct. But those are also other things that are of a different prurient nature. So it's not necessarily equivalent. And this is me. I am starting to try and learn YouTube vocabulary. What I cannot actually say.
By the way, did you not see my comment about a spreadsheet?
I did. I think that I've been pretty decent about that.
All right,
So
that one's for
even-
you. That one's
even-
for you, John.
Even the school's attorney has come out and said that there is a good possibility that there's going to be some liability on the school
Okay.
for failure to act.
And
Their
I
attorneys
gave my opinion. If the school's attorney has a different opinion, he's entitled to it.
No. I'm not saying that anyone's not entitled to their own opinion. I'm just saying that school attorney probably should learn that whole keep your mouth shut thing.
Well, that might also be a good example. No, I mean, say that there could be the possibility of liability is...
I mean, there's going to be civil liability.
No, and I do know civil liability. That's exactly what we're talking about. There's no criminal liability here.
There's going to be a shit ton of civil liability. Wilco, how did the school
There's going to
know?
be some people get fired too, I bet you.
Oh, yeah.
I
Wilco,
will bet you dollars to donuts that nothing happens.
I don't think anything's going to happen to the school criminally. I think civilly. I think the parents are going to be where the criminal.
No, unless the district decides that they would like to settle the case, I don't think that they actually have any civil liability.
We'll
Anyway,
see.
there's another question for you, John.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's right there on the screen, dude.
Is public school considered the same as, say, a grocery store? No, because a public school is a representative of the state. And so in most jurisdictions, as a representative of the state, sovereign immunity can apply unless the state waives it under specific circumstances. And
Okay.
I don't believe that that has occurred when it comes to physical injury in a elementary school circumstance.
So hold on, I'm going to answer this. Will call. They have not said explicitly how they knew, but it was, hey, J. Michael. It was widely known by several administrators that the child was in possession of the firearm. They did look in the backpack and didn't see it, but being that it was concealed on the child's person, they never searched the child. They didn't even bother. They looked in the backpack. They let the kid go on the way. So they didn't do a good search at that. But they did know for a fact they have not yet specified where that knowledge has come from. And I doubt we will see that until a little farther into the investigation. Because, like I said, time after time after time in the Idaho shooting, we keep things close to the, you keep some of it close to the vest. They have said that the mother legally possessed this weapon, had purchased it, possessed it, and was in her possession. So they've already said it's a misdemeanor and a year in jail and a bunch of other stuff.
Year in jail.
Okay, there's some clarification from Crow for you, John.
I think
they can frisk the kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And my point is not that they did not have the opportunity or ability to search the child for a weapon that they knew about. My point is, again, we're talking about sovereign immunity. Can you sue the government? The answer is, more times than not, no. The only time you can sue the government is if the government says you can.
Right.
Which is silly, in my opinion.
And in putting the hands on the child, I mean, like Ben said when we broke the news, in some aspect, with schools, and when Mindset was on, we were discussing that some of it falls under the in loco parentis. When you send your child to school, there's the in loco parentis rulings. So the school is acting as the
There
parent.
are. I don't necessarily love the way that they're applied, but yes, that is an alternative theory of why you can search the child.
Yeah, because it becomes in loco parentis. But we just we were just Mindset and I were discussing something else about it, and it came up.
Yeah.
I don't think you even need a local parentis at this point. It's just it's the open threat to everybody else.
So here's the
There's a
problem.
safety issue there.
I'm
They're
gonna-
required to answer.
Doesn't necessarily. Let me put it this way: we have several issues here. The first one, in terms of liability, now that we know what happened, is a question of sovereign immunity. Right? If there's liability on behalf of the school, that is a question of sovereign immunity. But that's because we already know what actually occurred. The question is, if they decided to search the child beforehand, is there a Fourth Amendment argument? And that might also be answered yes. So you see where there's sort of a catch-22 going on?
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a few problems. And we're going to sidebar on this example, and John will understand my sidebar on this. I ran a call not long before I left the field where a 12-year-old committed self-deletion.
Okay.
And it was in a very graphic way.
Okay.
And there was a whole bunch on school grounds. There were a whole bunch of kids with their cell phones videotaping it.
Mm.
And the police were trying to take the cell phones to make sure pictures were not being inappropriate pictures, did not get out. And several of the children said, go F yourself. My parents said, you can't touch my cell phone without a warrant. Try me. So you also have that problem that there are parents that tell their kids it doesn't matter what or why, do not let the school search your stuff, don't let them whatever, they need to call us
And
and we
strangely,
will hand it.
strangely enough, Loki, those parents, and I absolutely don't agree with, well, no, I can't even say that. Those kids were actually right.
I'm not
As a
saying
matter of law.
I'm not saying as a matter of law they were wrong in any way. What I'm saying is when people are saying, okay, can they search a backpack? Can they pat down a kid? Can they whatever? There are some kids that will vehemently push back and say, my parents have told me. And the issue that we ran into is this child's parents found out about the self-deletion because they were texted a picture of it before police were able to notify.
Let me ask you real quick. Would you prefer that I close off the camera before I indulge
You're
in
good.
nicotine stick?
You're good.
Okay.
don't
Again, YouTube changed their policy, so I want to make sure everyone's comfortable.
I'm not at 1,000 yet, unlike you, so I'm still not monetized, so I don't care.
All right.
Okay. And Thomas had a comment a little while ago. I thought
Yeah, the crazy parents, yeah.
Because that's the first thing I thought. Okay. The first time I heard that, I'm like, what? Crazy parents? What? Right.
Well, no,
Got a couple more comments here.
This is the issue that I have. And sorry, I'm going through pockets of code. The issue that I have is, unfortunately, because of the nature of sovereign immunity, the school actually does kind of get to have it both ways. You know what I mean? Just as a matter of law, maybe not as a matter of what ought to be, but what is. So, yeah, the pictures are not necessarily right, but we live in a world right now where this is what kids do. They pull out their phone and start videoing.
Okay, DM, I'm gonna grab a chunk of this here. They get the warrant, the kid deletes the pics. There is a significant chance that they'll be able to retrieve that picture off the phone anyway when they clone it. Or they can go back, or they can use that phone to access wherever it is that phone uploads to.
So
usually Google or someplace similar, it's held on, and they're automatically held on a drive.
Well, I think
the cloud.
The question that DM is asking is, would the kid then potentially face a potential charge of destruction of evidence?
No. So in the situation that I was in where the police wanted the phones, they did not want the phones because of evidence. They wanted the phone to try to prevent exactly what happened, which was before the police could get to mom and dad, that mom and dad got pictures of what their child did.
They have no right whatsoever to do that. I am very, very comfortable as an attorney licensed in 2 states to say that they have no right whatsoever if that is their grounds for trying to deprive somebody of their property under the Fourth Amendment. Period. I have no question about that.
I'm not arguing that point. I'm just saying the reasoning that they wanted it was.
And I'm saying that reasoning is illegal. If that is their reasoning, and I'm not saying that their reasoning is not in good faith, I'm saying it's illegal.
It also depends what's in the school's handbook that they sign and abide by.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. The school has no authority whatsoever, whatever is in their handbook, to subjugate your Fourth Amendment rights to retention of your property to the state. I'm sorry, the answer is no, 100%. They are law enforcement officers. They are not school handbook enforcement officers. They are not code enforcement officers. They are law enforcement officers. And the law says you absolutely cannot take those phones if your purpose is just that you don't want people filming this. I'm sorry, the answer is absolutely 100% no, and I don't care what's in the school handbook.
They didn't want to seize the phone to take it. All they wanted was to delete the picture off the phone.
They can't do that either.
I understand that.
That is the property of the filmer. We're done. I don't have an argument on. There is no argument on this. This is quintessential Fourth Amendment law. They cannot force you to delete a photo because they are concerned about other people's feelings down the line. That is not in any way appropriate. And I don't care what the school's handbook says. I don't, because the school is a public school, so they're subject 100% to the Fourth Amendment. I do not care what their reasoning is. There is absolutely no legal justification to have officers demand children hand over their phones to delete those videos. They have no legal justification. And I am very comfortable, just based upon your explanation. Maybe there's something more that I'm missing, but based upon everything you have said, there's no legal justification. And I am very happy to have you disagree with me and explain why, but I'm very comfortable with my opinion on this subject.
Because, yeah, it's still a seizure whether they give it right back or not.
I'll be back in a moment, guys.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
So-
I think I might have upset Loki a little bit. That was not my point. I'm very, very confident in my legal analysis on this one.
Okay. I'm with you on this one. The students in question are absolutely correct, and even Loki agrees with that. I get where they're coming from, but yeah, in terms of Fourth Amendment, that's still a seizure, no matter how you want to spin it.
Well, again, even if you want to request the phone